I am Mario Petillo from Every Eye. Nice to meet you,
Hi,
Michelle.
Mario. Nice to meet you, Mario.
Okay, so I think we don't have so much time, so I'll start with my first question for you. And
Okay.
so you have decided to tell a very delicate but also very resonant true story. How did you build the character of Lucille Flannery, and did you want to get as close to reality as possible, or did you put your own in it?
I think there was a combination of those things. Um, once I read the role, I just connected to her innately. And then having the opportunity to actually speak to the real Lucille Flannery was amazing. So I tried to bring as much truth to who she is as possible, based on my own understanding. Um, and so,
Okay, what does it mean to tell this story today for America? Because the country is going through a very sensitive time when it comes to struggling with racism. So, don't you think this story brought back to the surface could I don't know, make some problem with the American culture, in your opinion?
absolutely. So I think that what's important here, is that to know that these people came from a broken home. I'm sorry, from a broken neighborhood and not a broken home. So they were raised with all that, their parents gave them all the right tools to do, great in the world. They did their best. They were always there. They were praying. They gave them the Bible. They took them to church. They gave them love. It was a really close knit family. But outside those doors, their opportunities were limited. And I think that, that was happening then, and that's still happening some now. And I think that, I hope that people can look at that as a whole and see that, I hope that more support is created for communities like this. And that's part of the issue, that I think that needs to be seen right now.
When this project was proposed to you, how did you react? Did you already know the history of the Black Mafia family, or was a completely new story for you that you only discovered over time?
Yeah, I really didn't know much about Black Mafia family specifically. I really didn't. So, but it's been a journey, like really learning about them, and so interesting, um, and just the family itself, because they just come from a loving family. And so there's so much to relate to. And yeah, again, the fact that I had the opportunity to talk to, not only Lucille herself, but also Nicole Flannery, the daughter. I could ask so many questions. And then working with Lil Meech, um, there was so much at my fingertips to learn about them all. And it's just been an extraordinary journey.
And speaking about the Lil Mitch presence in the cast, was his presence useful to better understand the story for you?
Absolutely. We had like a connection automatically. We just had this beautiful, deep connection. And he kept saying to me, "Oh my God, you look just like my grandma. Oh my God, you feel like my grandmother." Like, she would totally say that, like you do, and say some of the same things that she says. And, and you know, I just really tried to, be there and support him. And he has such a big heart. And it was just wonderful having him there to uh, work with. Just beautiful.
And what do you think is the goal of this show for the people? Besides, sorry, besides making the story better known for the people, what reaction do you expect from them?
Um, I can tell you what I hope for that
Yeah, of
people see.
course.
Like, yeah, I was watching the show myself yesterday, and anyway, and so it's been, you know, some time that we were shooting, and so stepping away from it now and watching it, it's like, oh my gosh, I was just so excited, just even watching like the opening scene until it got to like the opening credits and stuff. I was like, oh my God, this is like so, it was just so exciting. The music and, you know, the editing, everything just came together so well. And I watched and I love these people. I just love these characters. And I really hope that people watch it and see that and feel that. And then I laughed so much. There were so many things that were funny that I didn't know would be that. I was like, oh my gosh. And so, you know, on set and stuff, we had so much fun doing it, but there are so many things, and particularly for me, that were like heavy moments and stuff. But watching it, it just reads like this. There's like so much heart, and there's so much love and connection, and you go on this ride with them, and I just hope people, you will be, are entertained, are moved, are inspired, are encouraged, are uplifted, and I just hope that they care. I really do.
Okay, and this is my last question for you. Did you get to meet Eminem and Snoop Dogg? What was it like working with such personalities?
I got to meet Snoop Dogg, and I had a scene with him, which was like so freaking cool. I was just beside myself. I was like, bro, I'm your new BFF. Okay. Um, and so, but he is so sweet, so kind, so chill, humble. He came like to do the work, like ready. He really was focused on the work, not just on leaning on his name and just being Snoop Dogg. You know, he really wanted to come in and elevate the show. And that was really, really, really cool. And he shared so much about his story and stuff too. And one of the biggest things he kept sharing is how much he loves his mom, and what a big support she's been to him. Um and he was just really freaking dope, just dope. And then I got to go to Detroit, which was really awesome to actually be there, on the street that they grew up on, in the house that they lived in, and you know, Miss Lucille still lives there and all that. So that was amazing. And while I was there, that's when Eminem was actually there, and I love me some Eminem. Love me some Eminem. And but I did not have the opportunity to meet him, but I got to see him from afar when he was like shooting. I got to watch from across the street. But I look forward to meeting him someday. I really love like his style, how he writes, and he's like so inspiring.
Cool. Thank you so much.
And
It was a very pleasure for me, and I wish you the best possible success for the show.
thank you so much. It's been a pleasure for me.
The first question is this one. I think yours is a very curious situation because it does not often happen to see a son made the figure of his father as a young man. So it is perhaps a totally brand new role for you, but for all the movie. So how did you feel in this situation?
I loved it, man. I loved every minute of it. It was the journey that made it all worth it. And it really, from the start of it, from the beginning, from when I had to go to acting classes for a year and a half, it seemed like a long way, like a long ways ago, like a long journey. And just me learning how to act, to me learning what real actors and actresses have to really do to get ready. You know, us watching movies and shows, we don't know what they really have to go through behind the scenes to get ready to do what they, to do a scene. So me learning how to act just within itself, not even playing a role of my dad, just learning how to act was crazy. It was different. It was a mind-blowing experience because first of all, as us men itself, we already hide our feelings. We don't want people to see us emotional. So it was different going in to now a job field where I had to have my emotions on my sleeve at any point of time. I had to be ready to cry, sad, mad, happy, anything, So at first I didn't understand that. And me doing my acting classes helped me understand what a real actor have to go through and learn the foundation of acting before I can just go play my dad. I can't play my dad without knowing how to act. So once I really got the foundation of acting, I was able to fall into the role of my dad easier. And it was a crazy, mind-blowing experience. I always say that because it changed me as a man and as a person. I feel like got me a better connection with my dad and my mom and my family, just because I had to really learn what my dad had to go through back then when he was 16, 17 years old, and put myself in his shoes. And we didn't grow up anyway near the same. So it was a whole different experience, man. And I'm glad I got through it so comfortably and so naturally, and I was able to fall into the role so naturally, because that's what matters. I'm glad that I hope everybody will love the show.
And about the show has a cast very important names. So beyond the production entrusted to 50 Cent, there will be a cameo by Eminem, but there will be also Snoop Dogg. So did you have the opportunity to share the set with them? Did you meet them? What sensations did you have with them?
I had scenes with every single one of them. It was crazy because I got to learn from so many veterans and so many people that's been doing it longer than me. Eminem's a legend. I grew up on 8 Mile. 50 Cent is a legend. I grew up on Get Rich or Die Trying. Everybody I was around, Wood Harris, Russell Hornsby, these people have been doing this since I was born, way longer than me. And I got to be on set and learn from them and get better as I'm on set because I'm learning from them. You know, each of them are giving me game. You know, and Snoop Dogg, he's been doing this for a long time, and he gave me game. Everybody I got to learn from on set was like family, like everybody. It was never a dull moment. Everybody was like family. Everybody was cool. It was so fun. It was a total learning experience, and I'm just grateful for it.
Okay, now I would like to do a more personal question, but in your opinion, how much it has affected your life and your career being your father's son? And what is the relationship you have at the moment with him? Does he know that this series exists?
Yes. First, I'll just say that me and my dad have a connection of a strong dad and son. Like we love each other to death. It's nothing he wouldn't do for me. It's nothing I wouldn't do for him. And me and my dad talk every day, just so that you know, we talk every day. My dad got taken away from me at 6 years old. And it was probably the worst time of my life. Like my mom and my dad were together 20 years before I was even thought of. So it hurt my mom more than it hurt me. The love of her life, as well as her baby father, got taken away from her. And I was so young. I remember being with my dad all the time, and then he just got taken away from me. I had to go see him behind the glass one day. So it's different when you're growing up in the shadow of your dad. Like, I didn't know my dad was a legend at 5, 6 years old. I had to grow up into a teenager to understand what he did, to why people loved him, to why who he was. I just knew I had a cool dad. So, long story short, me and my dad just, like I told you, we have the relationship of a father and son, but of a close father and son, because he had to talk to me every day in order for me to understand where his mind frame was. 16, 17 years old, I couldn't play him and not understand where he was with the choices he made and where he was thinking at that young. So it's always been great. I mean, my dad is a great person. He's an amazing guy. Everybody that walks up to me, I've never heard nothing bad about him. Everybody that comes up to me randomly tells me all type of great things that my dad has done for him, or opportunities that he's made for them, how he's changed their life. So it's like when you're growing up and you have a dad like that, that people call a hero and a legend, it's different. Because I don't see him in those eyes. I see him as my dad. It's my dad. It's the one I talk to every day. So, you know, it was different. But I love growing up in the shadow with him. Now I get to play him on a hit TV show, on a hit network, legitly, and can provide opportunities for not only him, but other people around the world. That's all he ever wanted.
Cool. And in your opinion, what effect do you think it could have telling this story to the American public? What is the goal of the show?
The goal is to have the biggest effect possible, because it's not just a show about drug dealing. It's a show about family, soul, brotherhood, loyalty. It's a family connected story about a two-parent household with two brothers and a daughter trying to make a living, trying to get out of poverty. So it doesn't matter if you're Asian, Korean, European, it doesn't matter what race, ethnicity you are, you can still feel connected to the story because it's a story about family, about what the opportunities they had in the 1980s, you know? So anybody can feel connected to the story. I hope people really understand and read between the lines and understand the family connection, you know, before they understand the drug dealing and everything else that goes on, because it's a lot of different stuff that goes on between the lines and that people should understand and be able to grasp to.
And is there a particular message that you would like to send out to everyone who see the show?
I just want everybody to understand the show and understand that the show is needed for the culture, because it's a story about brotherhood, like I said, and about soul and about family. And it's needed for the culture, you know, and it's history, because in the 1980s, Detroit was like Iraq, and people don't know that, you know, and growing up, 15, 16, doesn't matter how old you were, growing up in Detroit, you still had to face the hardships and the violence and the drug-infested communities that was going on. It wasn't no going to college and going to get a great job that can make you $100,000 a year. It wasn't doing that. You had to use the opportunities that was in front of you. You know, so people really get to see that, and it's a whole history buff, just the whole show itself within Detroit in the era of the 1980s. And then my dad and Terry, my uncle, are legends. Choices they made back then still affecting us now to this day, 20 years, 30 years later. They're legends. They're probably the biggest street legends to ever come out of Detroit. So that's legendary within itself.
Okay, so that was my last question. Thank you very much, and it was a real pleasure for me.
Thank you, Mario.
I wish you the greatest possible success with the show.